learning what a pattern looks like and what leads you into those places, and learning how to not tear the house down, not burn it down, but how to go in those rooms and say, okay, I learned something here. I'm just going to visit to remind myself, and then I'm going to close the damn door and get out.
You're listening to Grammy-nominated country music singer-songwriter Ty Herndon. This is 1000 Seconds, a podcast hosted by 1000 Feathers co-founder and president, Forrest Alton.
Ty Herndon, welcome to 1000 Seconds. I'm so glad you're here. What an honor it is to talk to you.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here too. Otis is too. He's happy to be here.
Otis, we're glad to have you as well. Whoever of you wants to chime in here as we go through, either one of you, we're glad to have dual guests here today. This is great.
I was going to put him in his crate, but it won't do any good.
No. He's much better right here with us. Ty, I want to do just some quick career highlights, if you'll allow me. I have really enjoyed learning more about you and prepping for this episode. And I suspect many of our listeners might not be as intimately familiar with the career journey. We're going to get into the personal journey, but just some career highlights. Ty's a Grammy-nominated country music star. He is a Dove Award winner. I had to look that one up, I'll be honest, but that is the most prestigious award presented by the Gospel Music Association. You've won an HRC Visibility Award. You've had not one, not two, but three country singles hit number one on the charts. Four, my goodness, sorry, 4 number one singles, 17 top 10 singles. Do I have that number right?
Correct. That's correct.
And 20 Billboard charted singles in all. My goodness.
Crazy.
Also a new album out now that is celebrating, and maybe even we should say chronicling 30 years as a recording artist, and revisit some songs from your career with a host of high-profile duets and all the things. How'd I do on the career highlights, just in a quick snapshot?
You did fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah, excellent. Man. So that is Ty the singer. Why don't you tell us just a little bit about Ty the person? Take a minute or two and introduce yourself.
Well, clearly, I'm a goober for our two boys here at the house.
I love it.
Peepo's on the floor. He's 14.
I love it. For those that are audio only, Otis the dog is with us here on screen. And,
he's a 3-month-old rescue Labradoodle. And
oh my goodness,
he had a lot of love to give, but somebody didn't give it to him, so he gets extra. My husband and I, we wanted to give people a little longevity, so we got a puppy, and he absolutely hated us for it, but he's good now. He's like, what the heck did you guys do?
I love it.
I mean, I'm just a country boy from Alabama, just in this crazy music business. In 2014, we made a huge announcement that I'm a member of the vegetarian community. That's how much emphasis I do not put on labels. But I came out in country music, and I always like to say on stage, I said, guys, you hear the big news? I came out as a vegetarian. And it's just crazy, man, because my grandma taught me a long time ago, the mountains are going to be there. We can only climb them so much, we have to make our own path. And so I guess I've had a lifetime of making my own path, and along the way, making sure I share that experience, no matter what it is.
Yeah, I love it. I want to talk a bit about the path, and I also want to talk about these very conscious choices you've made along the way to share the path and share the journey with others. By the way, your debut single, What Mattered Most, turns 30 this year.
Yes.
I happen to have graduated from high school 30 years ago as well, in 95. I often find myself thinking, like, how could such a crucible moment have happened 30 years ago when I'm only 30 myself? Do you ever have that same experience?
Oh my gosh, man. Every day,
Yeah.
My dad made sure I went to college, because in case his music business thing didn't work out. And I think that's always good advice. And so I got a music business degree, and I've definitely used it over the years. But, it's just, I think in anything that you do in life, you have to make some tough choices. And especially if you're not living your life authentically, and you're in a business that maybe doesn't like you for authentically who you are, you have to kind of make your own path. And
yeah,
at the end of the day, realize that, that the same thing that my grandma and mom taught me is I'm beautifully made and perfect in the eyes of the one dude that matters. And I try to pass that along to kids today and say, look, you can be whoever you want to be. The most important thing you can do for yourself is make sure this thing, and whatever your spiritual realm is are connected. I think as long as you've got that, that you can get through a lot of things in life. So I was really lucky, man. God gave me this tremendous gift to do music, and people likes it a lot. That's him. He always says hallelujah when I preach.
Sings along with you. That gives us a lot to get into here in 1,000 seconds. I want to talk about all of it. I also want to talk about your upcoming book. Want to talk about your amazing work with the Concert for Love and Acceptance. So I'm going to start our 1,000-second clock here in just a second. But before I do, one thing I forgot in your bio, this gave me the biggest smile. I mean, before there was The Voice, before there was American Idol, there was Star Search. Is it true that you are a winner of Star Search?
Man, I went all the way to the big finale of Star Search, and my dear friend Sam Harris, who won that night, who's now won so many Tonys, and I think we both did well for first and second place. So
I think that worked out just fine. All right, let's jump right in. We'll be right back.
Set your timers because Forrest's 1,000 Seconds with Ty Herndon starts now.
All right, we're back. We opened this episode with an introduction of some career highlights, some real highs of your life, the awards, the number one hits, the country stardom. By any measure, you've had an amazing career. At your own admission, though, you've also had plenty of lows in your life, right? You've said the highest of high and the lowest of lows. And I'm not breaking news here, just sharing with our listeners things you've shared with the world, mental health issues, drug addiction, even a suicide attempt. I mean, as I was prepping for this episode, it dawned on me, our business, our consulting firm does a lot of work on social issues across the country. Things like homelessness, education, healthcare. And if there's one common thread across all of those issues and people who are trying to navigate them, it's often the impact of mental health. I just wonder, you'd be willing to share with us. I mean, I know you've had your own personal journey here, but maybe some stops along the way where you found the help and support you needed and what that looked like in community.
Absolutely. That big ugly word that came set us upside down and stopped the world from spinning, called COVID. Man, it just hit me in so many hard ways. And I know it did a lot of people. We were isolated. We were alone. We were scared. If there were any addiction or mental health issues, they were sitting at the top of the coffee cup. For those of us who did something about it, I didn't do it by myself. There's a lot of angels around me always, but I had the good grace to do something about it. And man, I got up off the floor. I saw a couple of ghosts, and I know exactly who they are. It's in the book, y'all. Man, I made a phone call and started a 4-month journey at J. Flowers Institute in Houston, Texas, and I had no idea how broken I was. I was basically kind of a walking dead man. I was going through a lot of emotions, but this, and my spiritual realm were not connected. To make a very beautiful journey into this little package right here, I was able to have a diagnosis. Man, I was 57 years old and bipolar as I could be, didn't know it.
Yeah.
I was ADHD. The real answers of what was driving this behavior was a bucket full. And I was so grateful it's like when you're gasping for air and you can't get it. It was just this amazing oxygen tank of information that helped me get free of addiction. I mean, it's always, as we all know, addiction is it's daily work, and it's a very spiritual thing, and it's personal. And we found our way. And for me, having my brain work was a big help, number one. But also the absolute, I like to say, honor of surviving, because you get that honor. You have the gift of paying it forward. I thought I was open until I went through this, and then I really found out how shut down I really was. And so for me these days, with my manager, my team, my husband, my mom, they're always like, Herndon, you can turn down the volume just a little bit. I'm like, okay. And then I turn it right back up.
It's all right. That's what we do, right? I am struck by, and by the way, I've hinted at it. You've hinted at it. We're going to come back to the book in just a minute, I promise, which is coming out March 31st, if I'm not mistaken. So just a few weeks away. You just used the term "pay it forward," and I have to tell you again, in my reading and research and learning more about you, prepping for this episode and this conversation, that is a theme of your life, right? I mean, in addition to the highs and the lows, is always this pay it forward. You mentioned it. I'll come back to it here. Part of the journey you're describing goes back to this big announcement in 2014, right? You made country music history. You came out as the first major male artist to come out as gay. You've talked a lot about that decision and what led up to it in other interviews and such. So I want to take it a little different place to this pay it forward concept. Two connected things that you did. Number one, started the Concert for Love and Acceptance. And number two, started the Foundation for Love and Acceptance. And obviously those things are connected, but you have said like you felt a responsibility to show others you weren't alone. I mean, I'm just really intrigued by the not only personal nature of your decision in 2014, but more so the pay it forward nature. Where did that second part come from?
Well, man, I wanted to make a splash. I mean, if I was going to, basically talk about something that normally is just personal, it's a personal thing, and it should never really be an issue. So that's why I always say I don't really like labels, but
right.
But for me, it was quite simple. Okay, if we're going to have a conversation about this, then we're going to do something that really matters around it. And for me at the time, it was LGBTQ youth and families. There was too many kids killing themselves. There was too many young people thinking that they were so broken that they didn't deserve to live, and that just wasn't okay. So for me, starting the foundation was, here I am. I'm a pig farmer from Alabama. I'm as country as they can be. And I didn't grow up with a family they weren't supportive about it. It just wasn't a thing, You're, oh, great, you're going to be a singer, So my decision to be a singer and my decision to be a country singer, everyone seemed to think that they thought it was a tumor, and I felt that way. I'd had to remove it, and did everything within my power to hide my authentic cowboy self, because, man, I just the lengths that I went to just to be in a business that I love, and the absolute horror of not being loved back for a gift that God gave me that, as far as I can tell, is working pretty good still. And that's the one thing about me that I ran to. I ran to the music. And when David Ritz, my beautiful co-author for this book, who's had huge success with so many books, he pointed out something in a timeline of my life. He goes, from album one, man, you've been screaming the truth. You've just done it. You've just done it through music. And I started looking back at the music, and I was like, whoa, lies I told myself. I'm glad I didn't believe. And just so many songs. I won't go down that rabbit hole, because get me started on that and we'll talk all day. For me, if I was going to be in People magazine and I was going to be on every newsstand, then what was I going to do with it? Surely there was more to it. It wasn't just about that little bit of information, but
I love that. And we're all better for it. We are all better for those decisions that you made. And I am sitting here thinking about the description of the foundation: brings powerful and life-saving images and messages to marginalized youth who need to see themselves represented, loved, and affirmed. So I've got to ask you, before we get to the book, you've also been pretty public that just this past June was the 10th and at least your final concert for Love and Acceptance. My sense is the concert continues, but you're passing the torch. Is that true of the foundation too? Sort of what's happening here as these things have evolved?
Because of this concert, because of this foundation, there's a bunch of successful, I call them kids running around here in Nashville that are having great careers. And I won't say that happened because of me, but it did happen because we gave them a platform to be heard. And we gave them a platform to be fearless. And with all that happening, it gave me rocket fuel to do more. And and so I am kind of passing the torch to a few of these guys that are going to take it even bigger. And
I love it.
we've got some surprises coming around it, but we held on to the foundation at this point to teach, because I was this little 10-year-old that was called to preach, and that's, I'm not a preacher now. I'm a teacher, maybe a little bit of preacher teacher. Uh, but for me to have a platform to do that, now we're going to blow some people's minds with taking this to a place to have a platform that is this saved lives, of course.
Yeah.
But I don't, and I've never wanted it to be, hey, look at me. This is, it's not about that. It's about the work. It's about where we can take it next.
Yeah.
And how much that will matter. So this book, I've really never thought anyone wanted to read about, all the woes of being, in a crazy life, but that's not what this is. This is a book of surviving them and doing something about them, and sometimes not learning from my mistakes, and how many times I have to make those mistakes before I do learn, and learning what a pattern looks like and what leads you into those places, and learning how to not tear the house down, not burn it down, but how to go in those rooms and say, okay, I learned something here. I'm just going to visit to remind myself, and then I'm going to close the damn door and get out.
Yeah.
It's like walking up the edge of the cliff. But I've burned enough houses down, and here's the good news. By the grace of God and people around me, those ashes have to turn into the foundation that you build your next house on.
Yeah.
And so your foundation gets stronger and stronger. And
stronger and stronger. And it's interesting. This entire season for us, this entire podcast season is about people who have created movements, created real change, people who have been pioneers in getting something started. You mentioned something, and it's really a theme here, is that in order for the actual movement to happen, the creator often has to get to a place where they're going to allow others, right? Allow others in, allow others to take things to the next level, almost release the love, as it were. It's the only way we can get to impact at scale. I just think that's so interesting in what you were just saying.
And release the truth.
Yeah.
Because on your worst day, your worst truth, there's more information in that than celebrating 1,000 victories. That's where the meat and potatoes of what you need to know about yourself. That's where it all happens. You can ask my sponsor and my most of the people I work with now are my really great friends, but they're like, man, one thing hasn't changed. They have to drag me kicking and screaming somewhere that I'm going to learn something, because
I'm also struck by the fact, Ty, that multiple times now in this conversation, you've mentioned truth and speaking truth. And that somebody told you recently, you've been screaming the truth through your lyrics all the way back to the beginning. And we're in a real full circle moment here for you now, right? I mean, What Mattered Most came out 30 years ago. Yeah. Not only do you have a new album that's celebrating 30 years, but you do have a book that's coming out March 31st, right? I want to make sure I have that right. By the same title, What Mattered Most. And even if it's true, and I believe it is true, that you've been screaming these truths through your songs for 30 years, now it's actually on paper in a book that you're going to ask people to buy, to read. What can people expect from the book that's coming out here in a few weeks? And maybe why was now the right time to write it for you?
It is the most important, biggest, scariest thing I've ever done.
Wow.
A good friend of mine who does book reviews for really big publications said, dude, this is fried green tomatoes, steel magnolias, a touch of Pretty Woman, all wrapped up in the Kardashians.
Wow. Wow. So as soon as we wrap up, you've convinced me. I'm going to go order my copy, maybe multiple copies. That's a hell of a description.
I had David come down to Nashville when it was done after many, many edits of getting it right. And he sat at a dining room table, and we did use AI to create a really Southern voice. And for 3 days we sat and I had to take some big breaks because at one point my husband Alex and I was standing in the kitchen, and man, I just lost it because I was like, it's David. I said, how you write, man, it's so beautifully and well written that you get really wrapped up in the story. It's my story,
Right, yeah.
I didn't want to hear the ending, because the ending of the book is It's called One Enchanted Evening, and it basically is coming into my own and meeting someone, being healthy, and getting married, and
It's beautiful.
hearing those three chapters at the end. Man, in my world, I grew up faith filled. I was kind of had a Holy Spirit moment, man, for the first time in my life. Um, the full circleness felt like the biggest gift that I could ever have been given.
Mm.
I was, for the first time, standing here in my house with my family. I felt loved and at peace. And the work that went into that, let me just tell you, folks, if you have a chance to do an inventory and really get in there and just do some house cleaning, and have that freedom, it is the greatest gift that you'll ever give yourself.
Mm.
And it is the best you'll ever love yourself. And to do that fearlessly and slow down and do it fearlessly, personally, and with a lot of hope for yourself, you can't fail. They'll say, give them take a mile, take the mile.
Mm. Wow.
One time you can.
I can't thank you enough for not only being open and vulnerable in this conversation, but in so many interviews I've read and listened to, and your story is so powerful. I will be at the front of the line March 31st. I assume we just get this book everywhere we get the rest of our books, right? Any special instruction for pre-order or anything like that?
Well, you guys have blessed me. I mean, it's been at the top of the pre-order list for a while now, and I just
awesome. Awesome.
But, for this, I'm basically the most awkward and backward and shy dude you'll ever meet. So to sit in this, it's a story I know well. So there's a comfort level that that's kind of beautiful. So yeah, man, just first question out of my mouth was, "Hey, is this going to be in airports?" And they started laughing. They're like, "Oh, dude, you're going to be in airports."
I do an awful lot of airport reading, so I'll look forward to seeing you on the shelf. Ty, it's hard to believe, but our time's up. I'm getting the ding from the timer. What a great conversation. Thanks for joining us. Good luck on the book launch. I wish you nothing but continued success. Thank you for everything you're doing, and glad to be along with you on the ride.
Thank you, man. I'll close with this. See these stairs behind me? Guys, never stop climbing, but don't forget to sit down and take a rest. That's what I'm doing right now.
Perfect. Perfect way to wrap us up. Ty, thanks. We'll see you soon.
Okay, man. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to 1000 Seconds, a podcast by 1000 Feathers. This series is produced by Renly Wilson with original music from Emily McNally and support from the entire 1000 Feathers team. 1000 Feathers was founded in 2016 to improve the flow of information and resources between philanthropists, the social service sector, and the communities they are intending to serve across the southern United States. If you liked listening to Forrest's conversation with Ty, we recommend you checking out our website, 1000feathers.com, to learn a little bit more about our work. Thanks again to the entire team at 1000 Feathers for making this podcast possible, and we hope you'll consider hitting that subscribe button and joining us for the next one.